Well, Niner fans, it is officially the first Victory Monday of the 2023 season. How is everybody doing? Woo! We got the Victory Monday shirt. I am excited. What a great victory last night. How are we feeling, Niner fans? How are we feeling? I'm feeling great. I don't know about you. I couldn't sleep last night, and not because of the fact that I was nervous or anything. I couldn't sleep because I was so hyped up, just reading all the content, seeing all the posts. Just, oh man, so hyped. 49ers win a game, and it's a good feeling when the 49ers win football games. It's a great feeling, and today that feeling continues. So I'm happy. I don't know about you guys, but it was a great victory last night. And, you got to think about it. It was a road game. A lot of people were not giving the 49ers a lot of credit. A lot of people were picking against the 49ers. And I rewatched that game last night. This 49ers defense was dominating. They were dominating last night. 30 pressures. They had 9 QB hits. They had 5 sacks. This defense was relentless. They were absolutely relentless, and they're not getting talked about enough. They only let up 7 points. Like, you got to realize that, yes, they gave up a touchdown. I know there was a touchdown. There was the penalties here and there, but overall, I mean, there was a point in the game where it was 199 yards to 1 yard. So it was a very dominating performance. And the guy that, when I rewatched this game last night, that really came to mind was it was Javon Hargrave, man. Javon Hargrave was a menace in the middle. He was an absolute menace in the middle. And that guy was pushing the pile back. He had defenders, or he had offensive linemen in the lap of Kenny Pickett. Like, this guy was the real deal last night. And he's week 1. He's going to get cooking more. There's going to be, him and Bosa, as they continue to develop together. It's going to be so nice to see. Nick Bosa wasn't even he barely did much last night. He was getting tripled and double teamed. And it's crazy because PFF, they gave him the highest graded defensive grade on the 49ers. And if you look at the box score, you're like, Nick Bosa didn't do anything. But he was getting doubled and tripled, and he was allowing everybody else kind of to eat. And Hargrave, too. Those guys were just absolutely cooking. It was amazing, man. The 49ers out, they had 391 total yards compared to 239 total yards from the Steelers. 5 sacks. I mean, they were just putting pressure. Hargrave is a dog, man. So that was one of those things. When you rewatch the game, you saw how dominating his D-line. Javon Kinlaw had a good game last night. I saw, he was getting some pressures. Everybody was just putting in work on that D-line. Putting in work on that D-line. Steven says, imagine Bosa, Drake, Armstead, Hargrave get 10-plus sacks. Don't forget, this team is going to rack up the sacks. That's what the Steelers, not the Steelers, sorry, Philadelphia last week, the Eagles last year, that's what they did. Remember, they all had like 10 sacks, double-digit sacks. That's what happened last year. Was the Steelers were a formidable just mountain of force on that defensive line. And the 49ers, this is what they needed to do. This is their roots. This is where they got to get back to. And they did it. In 2019, when they made that Super Bowl run, that D-line was just stout. DJ Jones, DeForest Buckner, Armstead, and Bosa as a rookie, and D Ford. And it was insane. Last night, they were doing it, man. Clelin Ferrell looked good. Drake Jackson, we all know, 3 sacks last night. Like, he was coming in and just getting to the quarterback. And that's what having all these guys on that line is going to do. Everybody was dominating. Good to see. They were dogs. So that's one thing when I rewatched this game last night was like his defensive front was just getting to Kenny Pickett. And everybody this offseason was hyping up Kenny Pickett, the 49ers. Oh, they're going to struggle. Kenny Pickett, he's looking like the best second-year quarterback. I don't know about Brock and his elbow and this and that and the other. And Brock's throwing interceptions in training camp. And Purdy, he's not looking good. And it was Kenny Pickett. He looks great. They're throwing touchdowns, and the offense looks amazing. The offense is great. Training camp, preseason. That's why preseason and training camp, when everybody was sitting there talking about all these interceptions that Brock Purdy was throwing, I said, I don't care. We talking about practice. We literally talking about practice. Not the game. Practice. And last night in the game, Brock Purdy showed you he was him, and his defense showed you the truth on the 49ers side of the ball, and Kenny Pickett was running for his life. This man was struggling Kenny Pickett was stressing his whole life away. It was unbelievable, man. Greedy Greg, my man, says that's the preseason hype. Exactly. It was all preseason hype. And the 49ers showed you what a Super Bowl contender looks like. And last night, they dog walked the Steelers 30-7, 22 first downs, man. Passing first downs, 13. Brock Purdy was cooking. Brock Purdy, man, ladies and gentlemen, Brock Purdy, welcome to the Brock Purdy era. He's a phenomenal quarterback. Let's get this. He was the first quarterback in NFL history to win each of his first 6 career regular season starts and throw at least 2 touchdown passes in each start. He's also the first quarterback in NFL history with a passer rating of 95 or higher in each of his first career regular season starts. Brock Purdy is him. He is absolutely him. This he's great. He is great, man. Poised, calm, cool, collected, the swag. Threw shots at Patrick Peterson at the end of the game. So was that at Patrick Pete? We all saw that. That was amazing. And like Brock Purdy, he is a leader. He's poised. He's calm. I love watching Brock Purdy, man. This man is a hell of a quarterback. It's fun to watch him. Might be one of the best quarterbacks we've had in a very long time. I hope he can stay healthy, and I can see why Kyle likes this guy. Just a leader. Excuse me. Sorry, he's a leader, and he has such control of this offense. You know, just super control of this offense. He has a unique ability to go out there and be calm, and the moment's not too big for him. And you know, he was coming off a major injury 6 months ago. This guy had he had UCL repair surgery. He tore his elbow early, in February. We all remember the injury, the UCL tear. And then a couple months later, he finally had the surgery 6 months ago, ladies and gentlemen. 6 months ago. And he was playing like nothing ever happened. He looked so comfortable. His mobility is very underrated. Did you guys see him running and gunning and breaking ankles? And then afterwards, the little celebration. Brock Purdy, man, he is special. He was delivering the ball. He had a great connection with, Debo and not Debo, with Brandon Ayuk. And there's a few passes to Debo, but him and Brandon Ayuk were really locked in last night. And I can just see this guy's learning that offense more with these receivers. Because last year he was thrown into the fire, and he had a little bit of chemistry with Kittle, but now he had a whole offseason. He had now he's had a whole year to play with all these guys, Debo and Ayuk, and they love him. On their stories on Instagram, they all reposted the same picture that says him, Brock Purdy, him, and they're all posting it. Wide receivers are, and that's huge for development of a player and his confidence. It shows that everybody respects him and they believe in this guy. He's a captain, man. It is so cool to see Brock Purdy, second-year player, the last pick in the draft last year. He's the captain of the 49ers, man, and they love him. Unbelievable, man. Hello, Christine. Comeback player of the year candidate, and possibly if he's available, able to be comeback player of the year, possibly. But the thing is, he didn't miss any games last season, so I don't know if he's going to qualify. I mean, he definitely missed the NFC Championship game, but he started it. But it could be. If he's a candidate, Brock Purdy is going to start that. He's going to be killing it. He definitely should be up there because, I mean, that's a big injury. He rehabbed his ass off. People didn't think he was going to be there this season. But shout out to Brock Purdy, man. He did his thing, and it was fun to see. This offense is efficient, all because of how they work, the teamwork, chemistry. And then there's a guy, obviously, we talked about Brandon Ayuk. There's a guy named Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is nominated for the NFL FedEx Player of the Week, and I think he's going to get it easily. Easily. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, he had 152 rushing yards last night. That's a lot of rushing yards. 152. The other two candidates, he got was it Bradley Chubb? I think Nick Chubb, and I don't even know who the other one. I honestly don't know. It's going to be CMC who's going to win this at the end of the day. That's who's going to win it. Christian McCaffrey, man, the guy's he's insane, and he was running right behind the great blocks, obviously, of Ayuk and Ray McCloud. We talked about that last night, and that was nice to see. It's just teamwork, and he gave so much credit to these blockers, and that's what you got to love. Is this no guy on this team is above anybody else. They're all selfless. They all respect each other. They're all teammates that want to see everybody succeed. And that's what they do. They go out there and they work their ass off together. It's a unit. It's a team. They all want to go out there and work together to get the ultimate goal. And Christian McCaffrey giving up respect to all those receivers that helped pave the way on his run. That's what you got to love to see. And the blocking, not only that, there was a couple other runs that if you go back and watch the game, the blocking was just exquisite. The guards were pulling. Trent Williams was moving. George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk. This team knows how to block when it comes to run game. So that was really cool to see. Nick Wright, Blood Moon, says he's full of SHIT when he gives his analysis of Brock Purdy, saying it's because everything around him. So to define an elite quarterback, you need top weapons or top defense. You know what, Blood Moon, people are going to disrespect Brock. They can't accept it. They just don't want to accept that Brock Purdy's a really good quarterback. They don't want us to accept it. There's a great team around him. And obviously, yeah, you want to build a team that's good, man. You want to build a team that's good. Like, what's the point of having a team if nobody else is good around you? Because when they're gone, if they're hurt, your team sucks. Look at the Chiefs, man. Prime example. Like, no disrespect, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. We all know that. But look what happened last week on Thursday night. He didn't have his best player, Travis Kelce, and he didn't have Chris Jones, the best defensive player on their team. Now, you could make an argument that even if Chris Jones didn't play, they could have still won. But with Travis Kelce out there, guess what? They couldn't catch a blood nickel. They couldn't catch a ball. They couldn't catch a cold. And that's it, man. You can't just expect one guy to be the star of a show and win a Super Bowl. You have to have a team full of dogs, and the 49ers have a team full of dogs. It's a 53-man roster for a reason. It's a team sport. You have to have a really good team, and so be it. If you have if you have weapons around your quarterback that makes him better, then who cares? The 49ers have an absolute all-star cast, and that's fine. If we win a Super Bowl, I'm okay. If Brock Purdy goes on another team, I still think he'd be a good quarterback, but obviously he's going to be better on this team because, man, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, CMC, that's amazing. But Brock knows how to run this system. You can't just be any geek off the street to run this offensive system, man. Brock Purdy knows how to command this offense. He facilitates it well. It's not an easy offense, man. I'm telling you. Not anybody can come in and run it, and Brock does it very efficiently. And the crazy thing is Brock's only in his second year. People disrespect him too much. They really do. But anybody that's hating on Brock, just like Nick Bosa said last night, he made a lot of haters mad. He did. He's a good quarterback. He's only going to get better. And I'm excited to see the growth of Brock Purdy. All right. Key, what's good? He says, you think we pay Ayuk during the season or we wait after the season? Man, if it's up to me, I'm paying him right now. I'm calling him up. I'm sending him the bag. I'm giving him the money. We need to pay Brandon Ayuk, This guy's going to get more expensive. If he continues to have a game like he did last night, I mean, God, this guy's contract's going to be insane. He's going to get top receiver money. So it's probably smart to try to pay him now, but we'll see. Maybe he doesn't want to because this is the thing. It's not going to be on Brandon because imagine if they pull him in the offense and say, hey, look, we want to extend you. What if Brandon says, hey, no, I'm betting on myself. Talk to me after the season because his value is going to go up. They've done that with players before. Emmanuel Mosley last year, they actually offered him to take a contract extension. This was like early in the season, but he bet on himself. He says, no, I'm going to get Pro Bowl and I'm going to make more money. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL and it was unfortunate for him. But that was it. They were going to extend Emmanuel Mosley early in the season, but he didn't. And he was on pace to have a Pro Bowl season. You know who they did extend last year was Dre Greenlaw. They went, they said, all right, respect, we get it. We respect the decision. And week 2 last year, they extended Dre Greenlaw in week 2 after the Seattle game. I remember that game was wild because, Trey goes down. And then literally the moment he goes down, breaking news, Ian Rappaport says they extended Dre Greenlaw. I'm like, what is going on? So it's possible that they do it. But it depends on Ayuk, where his mindset is. If he thinks he's going to have a monster season, 1,500 yards, he's not signing anything now. He should wait until after season his price goes up. Good question. Peter Parker, what's good? Christine says, no injuries and stay healthy is gone. It could be a good season. Yeah, no injuries yesterday. That was one of the best news moments I saw yesterday. When there was no news about injuries, I was like, let's go. No injury news? I'm happy. We'll see what Kyle says today. So there's sometimes after effects, delayed injuries, whatever, after a game. So Debbie says CMC's spin move was epic. It really was. Kyle trusts Brock. I think that's a good way to put it in terms of the 49ers and this quarterback situation is Brock Purdy is trusted. He's trusted by Kyle, and that's not easy. We have not really seen Kyle Shanahan trust a quarterback with the 49ers through all these years. And now he has a guy he supports, he trusts. He gave him his blessing months ago that he's the head of the house, the head of the locker room. And that's the guy, leader of the clubhouse. Kyle trusts him, and that's what makes him a leader, man. And I got to love it. I mean, look, the last quarterback Kyle Shanahan has trusted was probably Kirk Cousins. Maybe Matty Ice, maybe, but I really think the last quarterback he absolutely trusted with his life was Kirk Cousins. Steven Reynolds. What about Trent Williams, though? He's fine. No injury. He was not on the injury report. We'll see how he feels today. Peter Parker says, so glad 49er football is back. My baby girl was watching it with me, my youngest. She brought all her toys and set them up on my bed. That's how you do it, man. The family watches, you're watching, everybody's enjoying, and you get the dub, man. Ayuk's block on the CMC touchdown. Yeah, big flex. Ayuk's a big man. He's strong. You could see his shoulders are broad. He's been grinding in the gym these last 4 years. He's really turned himself into a true wide receiver. He's got the strength, the routes, everything about it, the IQ, the vision. He's got it all. He's a complete receiver. The blocking is nice. No block, no rock. Ayuk knows it, and he's an absolute complete receiver. This guy's a menace, man. He's unbelievable, and we're lucky to have a guy like this, and he's only getting better and better and better and better. You got to love it. But, yeah, that's it. Victory Monday. We're all hyped up. The vibes are insane, man. Everybody's happy today. You got to be happy after a win. Going into LA next week, that's going to be basically a huge division game. Both teams are 1-0. The Rams have a game up on the division because they beat Seattle. I was a little surprised about that. SoFi Stadium, Levi's South, definitely a game that the Niners have to come in and be prepared to dominate because that's what they do. I think Debo's going to have a good game against LA because he always does. I think it's going to be one of those Debo games, but we'll talk about that as the week goes on. Still on a high from that week 1 win against Pittsburgh. Shout out to the Niner fans who invaded out there. It was good to see all that red in the stadium. And, shout out to all the fans that have been, just excited and happy. It's a good time. So I want to say everybody that's on the chat today, what's up? Make sure you hit that like button. We're starting over. I know we don't have as many people on here as we normally do, but hey, it's all good. We're going to keep grinding. Respect all the support. What's up to all the people in the chat? Make sure you hit that like button. And let's help continue to grow this page. How are we feeling? Let me ask you guys a question. What was your favorite moment of the game last night? What was your takeaway? What do you think? Drop some comments in there. Let me know how you're feeling on Victory Monday. I woke up. I felt like dancing. I put my Victory Monday shirt on. It's been an absolute vibe of a day, man. Absolute vibe of a day. Debbie says that Ayuk worked his way out of Kyle's doghouse. He absolutely did. He absolutely worked his way out of the doghouse. How are we feeling today, ladies and gentlemen? It's Monday. Victory Monday. Peter Parker says that CMC run was a statement. We're running over everyone. That was a statement. 65 yards. Man. Steven Reynolds says, I love how the Niners defense is still the same from last year with Steve Wilks. Let's talk about Steve Wilks, man. Shout out to Steve. He needs a little bit more respect today because a lot of people were doubting him, myself included. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and say, I thought Steve Wilks was going to be great. No, I had my questions. Now it's week 1. Let's take it week by week. But right now, Steve Wilks, man, that defense did not look like they missed a beat. They were unbelievable, impressive. They were hitting on all cylinders. I mean, they got to fix up some penalties. The secondary could be a little better. But Mooney Ward and Talanoa Hufanga, oh, my God. We all know Fred Warner's going to be great. But Dre Greenlaw all over the field, sideline to sideline. The energy was insane. We talked about the D-line. This defense did not miss a beat with Steve Wilks. Big shoes to fill from D'Amico Ryans. We were worried there wasn't going to be energy on the field because he's in the booth. My guy, Steve Wilks, brought the energy. Shout out to Steve Wilks. That's a great comment, Steve. He really did. And Peter Parker, you're absolutely right. That front line was reminiscent of 2019 with a pedestrian Bosa. Bosa was just waking up from a nap. He just came out of hibernation, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Bosa hasn't even hit his stride. Nick Bosa, he's just got his hand out the honeypot. Wait for the bear to get revved up. We haven't seen nothing yet, folks. We have not seen anything yet when Nick Bosa, Hargrave, Armstead, Drake Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, the rise of Drake Jackson has officially started. Clelin Ferrell, Kerry Hyder had a sack last night. Javon Kinlaw, ladies and gentlemen, he has a pulse. Javon Kinlaw is alive. His defensive line was cooking. Absolutely phenomenal to see. Good stuff. Both sides of the ball were unbelievable. Drake the Snake, I love it. The one issue, the one thing I will say, the offensive line has to clear it up. Spencer Burford and Colton Malkovich led up 9 pressures together. 9 pressures combined to have 9 pressures together. Colton and Spencer Burford have to fix that. They had a lot of penalties. Colton got dog walked by TJ Watt. Now I get it. See, this is it. Steve-O, I got you. I read you. So let's talk about the O-line play. I was concerned. That was the weakest link last night. The 49ers blocked great in the run game. Obviously, that was amazing. We talked about that. Run blocking, I'm never worried about the 49ers. Run blocking is not an issue to me. And I know last night I tweeted, I said, look, Colton McKivitz is getting dog walked by TJ Watt or something like that of those lines. And everybody in the comment, well, it's TJ Watt. Well, I don't care if it's TJ Watt. I know that's a test. It's his first week as a starter this year. It's only his 5th career start for Colton Malkovich. But guess what, man? I don't care. You have big games coming up. They got Michael Parsons. They got Aaron Donald. It's not going to get any easier. I mean, definitely these are going to be games for him to learn from. But this is a pressure cooker, man. We need Colton to get his footing down. I hope he continues to improve. But right now, that kind of performance in the playoff is not going to be able to win it for the 49ers. Now, I get it. He has time to learn and develop and grow. That was a huge test for Colton, and he got pushed around. We can't sit here and lie about it. I mean, again, it was a great team win, but it wasn't a perfect team win. You still got to look at everything and say, what can you improve upon? You're not going to be perfect in week 1. So I think that they got to get better up front on that O-line in the trenches. I mean, you can't sit here and say that's not the truth. Colton had some great run blocking ability last night, but the whole O-line was blocking great. So it's that pass protection. We cannot afford to let Brock Purdy get hurt. And that's, I think, the only concern that I have after watching last night. But again, trial by fire. We're going to see Colton. He's going to get a lot of work against some really good defensive linemen coming up. You know, there's Myles Garrett coming up in a few weeks. You got Michael Parsons coming up. Aaron Donald's coming up. You got some dogs out there, and he's got to tighten up. Yeah, Peter Parker, I was too. Big Spence was definitely a little off yesterday. He's a guy that I expect to have a big season and a better year, you know, in year 2. Definitely had a lot of penalties. Eric Crocker at one point says that he must have grew up eating crayons. I was like, Eric, you got to go easy on the guy. But, I mean, he had some really bad penalties. I was rolling. I was like, oh, you got to go easy on him. But, yeah, those penalties, got to clean them up. That was, I think, the biggest issue last night in terms of overall on both sides of the ball. And I'm sure the coaching staff really ripped into him about it this week, or they will this week, is you got to cut down on those penalties. But, you know, last year when the season started, they had a lot of penalties, and then they got better as the year went on. That's how it starts. The season, you're going to have penalties. You're going to get tic-tac calls. You know, you got to feel how the referees are. You're getting your footing down. So definitely, penalties are one of those things that are part of the game, part of the game, and we have to fix them because we cannot afford those later in the season. My man, Greedy Greg says, seems like when they went up 20, they left off the gas, and that's when they started going off. Yeah, I still feel like at times like they weren't aggressive as they needed to. When they were up by big points, I think they were like, all right, we can kind of relax. But against better teams, you cannot let go. And they kept CMC in the game. I feel like they maybe should have taken CMC out, but it goes with the whole, don't let your foot off the gas. So it's a give and take. I think Mitchell should have got more carries. Get him some carries. Get him some reps in there. He has been injured throughout the last couple of years and in training camp. So I think it would have been good to let Mason and Mitchell get some action and still could have been aggressive. But yeah, you're right. They did kind of let go when they had a big run towards the end of a big lead towards the end of the game. So still working on that. Definitely a good point right there. Debbie says, Money Moody. Let's give Money Moody, Jake Moody, his flowers. Let's give Moody his flowers because it was a tough offseason for him. It was a very, very, very tough offseason. He had all the expectations, 3rd-round pick. Here comes training camp. He's looking good. Here comes preseason. My guy gets iced in a game. Then he hurts his quad, and it was looking bad. and yeah, everybody was like, go call Robbie Gold. What are we going to do? A kicker? Oh my God, Zane Gonzalez is gone. It was bad. It was absolutely dire straits for Jake Moody. And shout out to him. He didn't miss a kick last night. He was killing it. I think it was a good confidence booster. And after the game, he was talking, well, I wasn't stressed. I wasn't worried. I got no pressure. I was like, okay, now you're a little stretching it a little bit. But shout out to Jake Moody, man. He definitely needed some praise. And I think we got to make sure he gets it because that's a good confidence booster. It was a big game for him. First regular season game and went without a hitch. As we sat here in shambles about the kicker position all off season, and yesterday was really good. It was really good. So shout out, man. I'm happy to see Jake Moody have a good game yesterday. He needed that. He needed that for the soul. He needed it for the mind. He needed it for all parts of him, just to get through a game without any hitches. Because this training camp or this preseason was rough for him, man, and people were letting him know. I felt bad, and also the quad injury. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was stressed out. I was worried. I was like, is he gonna come back and be able to kick? Is he gonna miss time? Is he gonna miss kicks? But that was a very good confidence booster for Moody Ward. Shout out to my boy. Drop them flowers for Moody Ward. Not Moody Ward. I mean Jake Moody. I'm thinking about Moody Ward because I was thinking about that intercept. Drop some flowers for Jake Moody. It's been a long night. I'm tired. I gotta get some sleep. Moody Ward. Yeah, Moody Ward though was nice. A little interception. He's good. Let's see. What else we got? What else we got, man? What else we got? It was a good game. Did I miss anybody? Anybody needs to be talked about that didn't get talked about? Clelin Ferrell. I was surprised. I apologize. I wasn't aware how good he was. I mean, he's always had talent, but he was a bust with the Raiders. They, number 4 pick in the draft the same year that Bosa went. Never lived up to that draft type. But shout out to Chris Kasurik. Shout out to Chris Kasurik, man. This guy is a dog in terms of developing guys. Because Drake Jackson, dog last night. Clelin Ferrell looked great. Chris Kasurik is the best defensive line coach I've ever seen in my life, man. Best defensive line coach I've seen in my life. So good to see him just going out there and continues to develop these guys and make them look like stars, man. Let me see. Let me pull up the stats. Let me see. I think who tweeted this out because I got to pull this out. Clelin Ferrell, dude. Look at this guy. He had a 84.5 PFF grade, second highest on the team. I got to pull up all his stats. He had like two pressures, 2 QB hits, 2 tackles. The guy was everywhere. He was everywhere. He didn't get the sacks. Drake Jackson was the one that ended up, but Clelin was everywhere, man. Yeah, I think Chris Kasurik is the D-line whisperer. The D-line whisperer. Lockdown Lenore. He had some boneheaded mistakes. Yeah, he had some moments here and there. He did have some mistakes. And again, those young cornerbacks, I think I tweeted out at one point yesterday. I said, those guys have to tighten up. They got to kind of fix those mistakes. Him and Ambry Thomas, they got cooked a little bit in fish grease towards the end of that second quarter. But, overall, the secondary played good. But they do have to tighten up because when they play against some better teams, they'll take advantage of them. And that's something that we got to look into. But, it's week 1. Definitely some room for improvement. But those bad ticky-tack penalties, you got to be better. You got to stop making those boneheaded mistakes because there were some plays I was like, they're young guys, though. They're going to learn from that. Him and Ambry, Lenore and Ambry will learn from that. He had some moments, but he definitely needs to cut down on those penalties because there were some really bad mistakes. So I agree with that. Good stuff, man. And, this team has a lot of young players that haven't even hit the field yet, The rookies, they'll get there. Eventually they'll get there. But we have so many good veterans, right? There's a lot of veterans on this team, and it's hard to replace the veterans. So I think eventually we'll get what we need. The Niners are going to get, all their young players developing. They know how to develop their players. So I'm not too worried. I just think that they got to stay healthy. And the 49ers have a phenomenal team. They got a phenomenal chance to go all the way. This team is cooking, man. This is an absolute superstar team on both sides of the ball. This might be one of the best teams in the NFL that they've seen in a long time. I'm telling you, if everything goes the way they are, and they get their chemistry down, they're like a well-oiled machine. I don't know. Not a lot of people are going to be able to beat this team because they're physical. You know, Kittle didn't even have to do much yesterday. Debo didn't even have to do much yesterday. You still have, and then CMC and Ayuk took over. There's going to be days where Debo and Kittle take over on offense, and then on defense, like I said, there's so many guys out there that can make an impact. You know, Steve-O says, "Pay BA, pay Brandon Ayuk, pay that guy, pay Brandon Ayuk needs his money like now. Let's go run that check to Brandon Ayuk. That guy made me happy to see Brandon Ayuk tear it up. He was the #1 rated receiver in the NFL by PFF. Now, I get it, PFF, we don't like to use them as much. They're not the gospel, unless it fits my narrative, right? As the joke says. But PFF, you know, it is a tool that people use to, you know, grade players and this and that. Whether you think it's the best or not, it doesn't matter. Brandon Ayuk was the #1 receiver in terms of PFF yesterday. And if you look at your fantasy lineups, he was on your team. He was probably the #1 out there yesterday. So I'm telling you, man, Brandon Ayuk, he didn't get off to a slow start, just like the 49ers did not. That's something we've been saying. The 49ers need to make sure they get off to a fast start, And Brandon Ayuk is getting off to a fast start. The faster he gets off, the faster his team's going to get off, and that's what we need. And usually Brandon Ayuk has started off slow through his career. Not last night. He got off to an absolute blazing start to this season. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how his contract goes. I'm sure they can use some of that money to sign Ayuk right now. If I'm John Lynch, I'm paying him right now. But if I'm Brandon Ayuk, I'm betting on myself and says, no, pay me later because my price will go up. If you're Brandon Ayuk and you believe you're going to be the best receiver in the NFL this year, because I think he does, or at least a top 5, because Tyreek Hill is just crazy, man. Did you see 200 yards yesterday? That was wild. But if I'm Brandon Ayuk, I'm saying, you know what? No, you can pay me in a couple months when I cook this season. Did you see him cook Patrick Peterson? Put him in a blender. $41.5 million. Give it all to Brandon. You just give him the whole cash. He put Patrick Peterson in a blender. 10 games. Patrick Peterson has played the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan 10 times in his career. And he has 0 interceptions. Thank you, Patrick Peterson. He put that man in a blender. And he pressed high speed and he pureed him. Unbelievable. I love it. Absolutely loved it. Hurricane, what's up? New subscriber. He says the Hufanga interception. Yeah, the Hufanga interception was fun. I thought he was going to get that lateral and Gibson was going to run it for a touchdown. Could you imagine if they would have connected on that lateral and they somehow scored on that touchdown? It might have been the greatest highlight in the last 2 decades. It would have been all over sports. Oh my God, that would have been fun. Peterson made a boneheaded mistake when he opened his mouth. He really did. That's why the 49ers, they don't talk, they don't chirp before the game. We keep the receipts, and then afterward, guess what? After the game, you can let the receipts flow. Cash them in. Don't sit here and talk trash about the 49ers before a game. It's not smart, Steve. You know, Peterson needs to shut his mouth. He needs to shut his mouth and learn. He didn't learn a lesson. Debo and Ayuk and these guys, they're the kings of petty, and they will make you learn after a game. Just like me, I'm a petty king, and I'll tell you what, I have no remorse. I'm going to let all the receipts fly, but after the game. So, 49er lover, yeah, we talked about that. We said Moody, he silenced his haters. It's a big confidence booster for him. So, Will Smith said to Peterson, keep my boy Purdy out of his mouth. That's right. Walk in the door, and my oldest says, Daddy, is that the 49er guy? Let's go. I am the 49er guy. What's up? Tell your oldest. Respect. Christine, Hufanga was awesome. Just awesome game. Proud to be a Niner. I love Hufanga. His vibe is something different than a lot of these guys have. He's just a proud guy, a humble guy. He trains hard. He's like Troy Polamalu, right? That's his guy. He's trained with him. You can just see that humbleness rubs off on him. And also the island vibes of, his culture and everything. Just they're very nice personalities. He's a very humble, hardworking young man, and I love Talanoa Hufanga. Great guy, man. This team is just full of really great, humble guys. You got to love this team. So, yeah, shout out to this whole squad. It was a good week 1. We're excited. This was a very good, exciting day yesterday. And now the vibes, again, positive. I'm loving coming on and talking positivity. Positivity. That's what we love, is positivity. And today was a positive day. You know, this feels good. Let me just say this before we wrap up the show. It feels good to sit here and talk, and all this negativity is not even at the surface. There's nothing really negative to talk about. Everybody's excited. Everybody's happy after a tumultuous offseason. All the drama, the trade, the Trey Lance trade. Oh my God, Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, the QB drama, Nick Bosa, pay Nick Bosa, all of it. It's like it didn't even happen because we are all so incredibly happy right now. Victory Monday is a good feeling. Victory Monday. Every Monday, we are wearing this shirt as long as the 49ers win these games. I cannot wait to wear this shirt 17 times this season through the regular year, and maybe more. Victory Monday. No injuries. Good day, man. No injuries. We have all this talent. I hope we're eating lamb chops too, Peter Parker, next week. But that's it. Victory Monday. Thanks for stopping by on the YouTube. I wanted to hop in real quick, say what's up, and continue the content here. Again, we're going to keep stacking these live videos on YouTube every day. We're just going to keep building the watch hours. Hopefully we keep continuing to get the followers and the support. We want to keep building this channel the right way. You know, unfortunately last time wasn't able to, but we're going to keep building the YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys have a good rest of your Monday. Enjoy the Victory Monday. Make sure you hit that like button. Appreciate everybody that's already subscribed. We got to keep building. You guys have a good one. I love you. Go Niners. Bang, bang. Niner gang.